One more thing, guys, before we start off the webinar, we have a social media presence of over 20,000 followers across all our social media platforms on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube, you name it. If you are interested in terms of reaching out to us or maybe stay updated about the Canadian immigration landscape, we would like for you to follow us on all our social media platforms. We'll be dropping the links. I think, in fact, we just dropped some of the links to our social media platforms. So feel free to reach out to us. Feel free to follow us on all our social media platforms, and we'll make sure to keep you posted on the latest updates, success stories, tips and tricks, how you can master and better your application in terms of applying to Canada and get your permanent residence at the same time. Yeah, I think we are all set and ready to kick off the webinar for today. I'll hand over the session to the speaker for today, Niran Marshall Perera himself. Hope you guys have a very productive session. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Ranusha. So as Ranusha introduced, my name is Niran Marshall Perera, and I'm a registered Canadian immigration consultant. So in this webinar, first of all, thank you very much for being here, right? So I know it was quite a hectic day. You all had the elections, and today is a FOIA day. But we just want to have this session on a FOIA day, so the most of the healthcare workers are available. So without wasting any time, I know you all are busy. Let's get into the subject matter, right? So what we are going to discuss is how, like how to gain the Canadian permanent residency status, right, as a healthcare worker, right? So as you know, after the outbreak of COVID, and even with couple of years after, every country they understood the necessity of having healthcare workers, because almost all of the countries ran short of healthcare workers. So the Canada, what they did was they identified this, right? So then all the provinces like Ontario, British Columbia, Alberta, and you name it, like all the provinces, they have expressed that they want to retain and they want to hire healthcare workers, right? So that is where your opportunity lies. So first of all, without going into the subject, let's see what are the benefits of obtaining Canadian permanent residence. So I will start with a general story that will give some sort of an information about how I became a Canadian permanent resident and how, as a professional, I have excelled. Just a small story. So I came to here on 2018 just as a permanent resident, and I was a practicing lawyer back home. So I had a few years of practice, and then I did everything right in my life from as majority of you all. So we did A-levels. I went into the University of Sri Jayewardenepura, completed my bachelor's degree, did all that. But then I married. But I was from Colombo, and I lived all my life in Colombo. My wife is a graduate. But we couldn't buy a property in Sri Lanka. It's not even like I'm coming from a middle class family, so we can't even think about buying a property. So then at that point, I realized there has to be something wrong, because I did everything right. I did A-levels, I passed A-levels, got into the state university, but the lifestyle is such where even if we can't buy a property in our name, that's going to be useless. So then I decided, okay, there should be some other alternative for this. So then me and my wife, we came to Canada as permanent residents. Then initially, as every other profession, the law is regulated profession here, so you cannot practice immediately. You have to go through the federal exams, provincial exams. So it took me 1.5 years to go through all that. So initially there was a struggle. So I was doing survival job in the sense I had to work in a call center, right, for 1.5 years until I get my exams done. Once I finished my exams, then I became I was able to go through the federal exam and the provincial exams, and once everything is done, floodgates open for me. So as a professional, now I'm happy to say I have a house where I can live with my family, and I have one of the brand new cars, because I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet here, but just to tell you that once you come to a country like this, it gives you the peace of mind, because you are respected in your profession. So then you will be able to achieve things that you thought that might not be achievable in in the home country of Sri Lanka. As much as we love Sri Lanka, right? But the situation is such that our hard work is not getting paid enough, right? So that's why that's why we are doing this program as well. So you guys to think about it. So they then do how the lifestyle changes and what are the benefits of becoming a Canadian permanent resident. So the first one is once you become a permanent resident, you get the status for the entire family. For an instance, let's say you have a family of 4, husband, wife, and 2 children. If you go through this process and gain the permanent residence, all 4 of you will get the permanent resident status, right? Then the second one is the free education for children. So that is a very good benefit because of the fact that here everyone is same. You go to the nearest school, you get the same education as primary and secondary, and it's free. So if you're worried about not being able to send your son or daughter to a respected college in Sri Lanka, that's not the case here. Everyone is the same and it's free. Then the most important part, as healthcare workers, you would know the general medical care is free, right? But to be honest, there is a huge demand for healthcare workers because of the fact that lack of healthcare workers, the waiting times are here also for non-emergency matters are high. So that's why the government is trying to bring more healthcare workers to reduce it down, right? So the as I said, the quality of life in Canada ranks among the number 3 in terms of quality of life as per US new best countries rankings. So that is the main important point for me as a professional, because once I come here, the life became so much easier because of the fact that I can focus on my stuff and get it done. So I don't need not to worry about what the government's going to do, how the others going to impact. So I have focus on my life and do whatever I do, and then you will be respected if you do your job well. Then the other benefit is the safety and peacefulness. Canada is the 7th safest country in the world, right? So as for the US new best countries rankings, so another benefit of moving and becoming a permanent resident is that you get the peace of mind. The lifestyle is such, after you finish your education, then you work as a professional for 55, 60 years, then the stage is set. You can have a peaceful life even after retirement. You get the retirement pension, and then the healthcare is free. So you will have absolutely nothing to worry about, because if you have paid your house off, then everything will be in place, so you can just have a happy retirement. So that's one of the main things that I as a person cherish, because coming from a middle class family, I never thought that I will be able to buy a house, I will be able to live peacefully. But everything has changed within a phase of 6 years or so. It's not going to be easy, as I said. Initial 1 year or so, it's going to be a struggle because you're coming from a different country. You have to get adjusted to the weather and the culture and so on. But once you do, as a healthcare worker, especially if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, the floodgates will open. The amount of money that you all can earn, we will go through the numbers later on. It's unimaginable, because if you become an expert in particular field, then they will respect it. Canada will definitely respect it. So then the other thing is they have immigrant settlement support, right? So once you come inside Canada, as I said, there will be a struggle because you don't know where to go, what to do, and so on. But the government has an immigration settlement plan in place to help all immigrants, new immigrants, to settle in Canada. For an instance, now they have the loan programs. Let's say you're a doctor or you're a nurse. You just come inside Canada and you have to go through the exams to get your license. Then there are loan programs 15,000. It's called Windmill. You all can just Google it. Windmill loan program, WINDMILL. So then that's loan program is there. You don't have to pay. You have to only pay the interest up until 3 years. So that's given for you to settle down in Canada, right? So to pay for your exams and even the living cost, you can pay until you finish your licensing exams and so on. So once you get the profession, once you start practicing only, you have to pay the loan back. There are similar other programs as well. So which Windmill is one that I use because I have to like spend money on my exams and because like I couldn't, sometimes I have to take like leave for the exams. So I used Windmill, and then I'm forever grateful for that, because right now I've like it's like I'm in a position where I can easily pay that off, right? So those are the benefits. Now let's see what we're going to discuss about the earning capacity, right? So this is the earning capacity for doctors, right? So you can go to the Canada Job Bank, right? So and like just put the earning capacity, then put your profession. You'll be able to find the earning capacity for the for your profession. For an instance, like let's say you're a doctor. We have provided Canada-wide, the nationwide the earning capacity. So the low earning capacity per year, 88,755. And the median salary is for a doctor is like 233,726, and the high end is 450,000. So across provinces, it's varies a little bit, right? So you can see like the province like the Manitoba and Yukon, like Territory, they are paying like the lower is higher in those regions, but when it comes to the higher range, Manitoba and the Ontario, they're paying the highest salary. So then let's do some maths and see, because like as you know, the earning, the Canada has a tax portion as well. So the from the low, median, and high wage salary, the federal government is like claiming taxes. So your net salary will come into federal and the provincial governments, right? So the net salary for low end is 62,776, right? So then the median is 140,535, and then the high wage is 241,784. And if you can divide that and convert it into monthly salary, and if you like multiply by the today's exchange rate, right? So this coming somewhere close to like the low wage is more than 1 million rupees, and the median wage is 2.5 million, and the high wage is more than 4.3 million. So these numbers are like not fabricated, or like it is designed by the government of Canada based on the statistics paid for each doctor. So let's see the numbers for nurses, right? So they are like the hourly wage is like right. So let me click on this. Right, so I'm going to show these numbers in the job bank itself, so it will be much easier, right? So this is the website that I talked about, right? So if you see, it's the Government of Canada website. This is their official website. So all what you have to do is when you come here, right? So go to job bank and like the labor market impact assessment, just type compare wages, right? So let's say you're a nurse, just the details nurse and search. Then you will be able to find these numbers, right? So as I said previously, this is the Government of Canada website. So all this information is official information. So if you go to like the slide here, you can see the low end is $28 per hour, and the median is $40 dollars per hour, and the high end is $50 per hour. So then based on your experience, knowledge, and expertise, you will be able to you'll be ranked among low, median, high, right? So let's do some numbers for nurses as well. So per year, the gross salary for low end is 58,240, and the median will be $84,011.20, and the high is around 104,000. So as I previously mentioned, there are taxes. So the net salary coming around 41,991 for low end, median 59,526. And the high is 72,286. Then if you convert it into Sri Lankan numbers, like the low is around 760 rupees. This is net salary after tax. And then the median is around more than 1 million. And then the high is around 1.3 million. So those earning capacities itself tells a story. If you are if you're willing to do the hard yards, then the government or the society as a whole will respect you, because like it's a well-respected profession, especially in healthcare, right? So wherever you go, like the people will respect you. So that's like for me, That's one of the biggest achievements that I've had in my life, right? So I worked hard to be here, so people respect me, so I can give the respect back to people. So I'm not saying like this is not available in Sri Lanka, but we don't have to think about the other factors. For an instance, we don't have to rely on others. We do our bit and we are getting paid. So then we can do whatever we want in our life. So then the most important part is that now we know the healthcare PR pathways. I told you like the earning capacity is there, the benefits are there, but now how to get this permanent resident status? If you know, there was a trend, probably it's still continuing. It started just after around 2022, where we had all this saga about Sri Lankan politics. People started migrating in heaps, and then the majority of them, they came as students, right? So even I know doctors who came as students. But having said that, if you come as a student, then the problem is you have to spend 30,000-40,000. If you're looking for a 2-year program in Canada, you have to pay minimum around $36,000-$40,000 tuition fees, and the student can only work 20 hours a week, right? So then the benefits and everything, you're not a permanent resident, so the immigration settlement plans and so on will not be available. So if you go to Windmill and ask for a loan, they won't provide that. So because you are not a permanent resident. So then you have to study for minimum of around 16 months to get 3 years of postgraduate work permit. So it's a struggle because you spend money and you can only work for 20 hours a week. So then the majority of the employers will not hire you, because knowing that you have limited employment capacity because you are restricted to 20 hours. So the benefit of coming as a permanent resident, you don't have to go through all these, right? So you will get the permanent residence status once you cross the border. So the process is you get the document called once your application is approved, you get a document called passport request, right? So in normal term, we call that golden email, right? So we get that request, and then you send your passport to EFS, and they stamp your passport. Then you can book a ticket, come to the border here in Canada, and the CBSA will provide you a document called a confirmation of permanent residence, which is normally known as COPR. So that means the time you cross the border, you become a permanent resident. You don't have to, as I said, if you come to the student route, you come here, study, work, and then work yourself into PR. But as healthcare workers, you have the chance of becoming a permanent resident the moment you step into Canada. So that's only available. I'll show the numbers later on, right? So that's only available for few professions. So the healthcare is one of them. So that's where the opportunity lies. For instance, if you're a lawyer, if you're an accountant, if you're an engineer even, right? So this opportunity is not there as of now. It's only for healthcare workers, French-speaking people, and few trades. We will show the numbers later on, right? So so that's where the opportunity lies. So when it comes to permanent residence status, there are 2 ways to obtain this. First one is the federal stream. Federal stream is across all provinces. It's common to all provinces. The second option is the provincial nominee program. So each province have their designated nominee program settle immigrants in their respective provinces. So the federal is one that operates as a whole. Provincial is one that operates as provinces. So let's get into detail. The first one, the federal pathway is where the opportunity lies for majority of them, because you don't have to rely on the province and then whatever the occupation that they have listed out, which we are going to discuss very shortly, right? So if you are in one of those occupations, you can straight away gain permanent residence from the federal pathway. So let's check the list of occupations that they have listed out, right? So here, as I said, this is the express entry rounds of invitation, category-based selection. So the category-based selection, in a sense, the government of Canada, they identify the areas where they have demand, right? So the healthcare is one of them, right? So French language, healthcare, STEM, trade, transportation, agriculture. So health occupations, we will see the numbers as I said previously, are the one of the main areas that they are looking at. So what they did was they listed out the 35 occupations, right? So in the health category as in-demand occupation. So if you are in one of these the professions, then they are looking for you. So that means you have a privilege or you have an advantageous position in terms of gaining permanent residency because of the fact that you have experience in this healthcare category. So what you need to have is like you need to only demonstrate have accumulated within like 6 months within last 3 years. So you need to have full-time continuous work experience for just 6 months within last 3 years, right? And it has to be in a single occupation listed below. And the most important part, in Canada or abroad. So that means your experience in Sri Lanka is also counted, right? So then you need not to be in Canada, because like a lot of people, like they misinterpret this concept. It's not only Canada, it's abroad. So your foreign experience in Sri Lanka, in whatever the hospital, that is considered as experience for this program, right? So the 6 months is what they're looking at, but it's a score-based system. So you would need at least like 3 years experience to get the respective score, which we will count in few minutes, right? So I will show you how to count your CRS score, right? It's a score-based system. So these are the occupations. So they have listed 35, right? So how to get into this, right? So just go to Google, right? Just type Canada Express entry category base, right? Just so type categories. Then you will be directed to this website. If you go down, you will see these occupations, right? So I'm just showing you so you can check yourself as well. So here, if you see the occupations here, like we have 35 different occupations, right? So it can be dentists, it can be dietitians, and it can be general practitioners and family physicians and the nurse, and you can even be a massage therapist, or you can medical laboratory technologist and the sonographers, right? So you can be a pharmacist, right? Physiotherapist, psychologist, right? So they have provided like 35 occupations in variety of fields, right? So then even the audiologist and speech language pathologist, right? So then if you are working in these occupations, this is the starting point. If you are falling within one of these like occupations, from this point onwards, then you can have hope about getting a draw from the federal pathway. But as I said, it's a score-based system, right? So then your score will be assessed based on this Canadian comprehensive ranking system, commonly known as CRS. So your score will be ascertained based on your skills, education, language ability, work experience, and other factors. So let's do a quick calculation. So I'll show you how to do a quick calculation here. So that will be beneficial for you guys to have an idea about the score. And then once we show you the cutoff, then you will realize whether you are within range or whether you are outside the range, and what best you can do to improve your score and be within range. So the first question they ask, like whether you're married or not, right? So then let's say you're married, right? Is your spouse or common law partner citizen or permanent resident of Canada, which is no, right? So in most of the cases it's no. Will your spouse or common law partner come with you to Canada? The answer is yes. Then this is a very important factor, age, right? So the moment like the Canadian government, they want to hire young talent. If you are below 35, then means you have a reasonable chance. If you're below 30, that is the exact candidate that they're looking at, right? Because after attaining the age of 30, every year you lose 5 points, right? So then let's say you are just 33, right? So then they will ask, what is your highest level of education? Here, like if you have a bachelor's degree, you can select this. And if you have a bachelor's degree, because most of the nurses, they have this 3-year diploma, right? So here it's not only the bachelor's, it's a 3 or more year program at a university, college, the nursing diploma what we have in Sri Lanka, right? It's NHS, right? So it's like 3 years. And on top of that, if you have a degree, you can select 2 or more certificates, not only the bachelor's degree. In 2 or more certificates, what we need is one has to be at least 3 years. The next one has only need to be like 6 months. So if you have one nursing diploma, which is like the 3 years, and if you have another like another diploma, which is for like 6 months or 1 year, you come under the ambit of the 2 or more certificates. Or, and more importantly, like say you're a doctor, then you can come under this. Here, the master's degree or professional degree need to practice in a licensed profession. So that means if you have MBBS, then that's a professional degree that you need to practice in a licensed profession. So you can select that option. For the time being, let's say we select 2 or more certificates. Then they'll ask, have you earned Canadian degree or certificate? So in most of the cases, it's no. Then they will ask language, right? So we have 3 exams when it comes to the English language and French. We have TEF and TCF. English, we have 3 options. We can either show CELPIP, we can show IELTS, or we can show PTE Core, right? So let's say the most common one, IELTS, is Canada, like it's based on the CLB, the Canadian Language Benchmark, right? So the highest points like will be on for CLB 9 and 10. CLB 10 in IELTS, it's a bit difficult to attain, but 9 is where the actual points are, right? So to gain 9, you have to get speaking 7, listening 8, reading 7, writing 7. Anything below this doesn't mean that you cannot qualify, but you will have lesser score. But if you're able to get this score, then you are like well within the range, right? So I'll show you if you can even go further, that will be great. But they're looking at CLB 9, that means listening 8 and 7 for all others. Anything below, like let's say you have like 1, 8, 1, 7, 2, 6, that's not the end of the world, because we will show that under provincial nomination still you can qualify. So do you have other language results, like which is French? In most of the cases you don't have. Right here, the most important question, if people get it wrong, is here what they're asking is, in last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada? So you don't have in Canada experience. So the answer should be none or less than 1 year. Then in the last 3 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? So here, like if you have 1 year, you can put this. Remember, like under the categories, we only need 6 months, right? But here, based on whether you have 1 or 2 or 3 years or more, you will be given points. So the minimum that to get a good score is 3 years. Even if you have 5, 6, 10, you will be only given points for 3 years. Then, do you have a certification or qualification? No. Do you have a valid job offer supported by labor market impact assessment? That is also no. Do you have a nomination? Unless you get a nomination from a province, you have to go with no. Do you have spouse or common law partner have at least one brother or sibling living here? So if you have your brother, brother or sister, yeah, and any siblings here, right? So it can be your elder brother, younger brother, it doesn't matter. So if they are living here as Canadian citizen or a permanent resident, you can give this 15 points. But for the time being, let's say no. Then from here onwards, they will ask the spouse details. So spouse, let's say spouse only has a bachelor's degree. Then here again, they're asking for in Canada experience. So spouse does not have in Canada. So we will go with none or less than a year. Again, they will ask for spouse IELTS. Spouse IELTS is not important as it's not important as the main applicants. But again, if you are able to get the language the 7 for speaking, listening 8, reading 7, and writing 7, you will get the highest points. But let's say for some reason you cannot get that. You can only get 6. So we'll go with 6.5, 6, and 6. Right? So then after you fill all these information, you can just click on calculate your score. So then here they will provide how the score was calculated. And if you scroll down, you will see your score right here. Right? So So your score is 435 and we are going with the age of 33. Let's say you're 29 years of age, right? So once we change that, you see the 435 changes to 455 because as I said, every year you lose 5 points. So 4 year, 30, 31, 32, 33, you lose like 5 points. So the 20 points you will gain if you are 29 or so. So now let's see like the recent draws and the cutoffs that were published by the Canadian government, right? So they had draws, regular draws. Here also you can go to the express entry just like this. Let me show so it will be easy for you to find out. Just type express entry rounds of invitation, right? So just Google it and you'll be able to go to the screen. And once you go down here, there is an option, a tab called see previous rounds. So just click on that and in the search box, filter box, just type health. That's it. So you'll be able to see that the Canadian government, right? So they have healthcare occupations, right? So the draws, which last one happened July 5th, and we had one in February 14th, and we have one in had last year 3 draws. The scores are hanging around 430s to 440s, right? The last row is 445, the one before that is 422, and the one before that is 431, right? So it's around like if you say a range, it's around 420 to 470, right? That range. But as I said, like based on your qualifications and so on, you can improve the score, right? So if you are able to come within this range, then definitely you will be able to apply under federal system, right? So there are ways to improve. So once you get thorough with the comprehensive ranking system, you will be able to, for an instance, let's say for the spouse is also capable of getting like the CLB 7, then your score will go up by 8 points to 463, right? So if you see based on the previous draws, you don't need 463. 445 was enough in this, 422 was enough in this, 430, like the old draws that happened in last year or so, it's below 450. The highest was 445, right? So if you have a chance to get into that score, you just have to create an express entry profile and then keep it. And once there is a draw, you will get an invitation. Then you have to provide the supporting documents. It includes your medical, digital photo, like the lot of documents you have to submit. You have to prove your employment, you have to prove your education, and so on. Once you submit documents, on average, they are taking around 5 to 6 months, right, to process your applications. And if all documents are in order, you will get this document like the email called passport request, right? So then you can send your passport, get it stamped, and come to Canada. So it's like everything can be done within a phase of like 1 year or so if you have the requisite scope, right? So that is where the opportunity lies. Now, let's say for some reason you don't have the requisite scope, right? So then based on the factors that we discussed, right? So you need to have a comparative score, you have to be below 35, and you need to have a highest level of education. You need to have it's better if you have 2 or more programs. If you have bachelor's, then still you have a chance. But if you have 2 or more masters, that will be good. Then the work experience, if you need to have minimum of 2 years, 3 years will give you the highest points, but you would need at least 2 years. Then the language proficiency CLB 9. So as I said, CLB 9 in IELTS terms is listening 8, 7 for the rest of the others. And in terms of CELPIP, 9 for all. If you have these qualifications, then you have a very good chance to apply under federal pathway. Now, let's say you do not have this. That is where like the most important part is, like if you have all this, you can go under federal, then your life is much more easier. You can come to Canada like within a year or so if you get your act together. Then if you don't have this score, let's say you are about like 35, let's say you are closing on 40, that's not the end of the world as well. Because as I said, remember like I told you like there are 2 parts. First is federal and the second one is the provincial nominee. So the federal is one that we discussed previously. So now let's see the provincial programs. So the Ontario, they have a very good healthcare because like Ontario, they need healthcare workers. I live in Ontario, so I know that they need healthcare workers and they're taking all the measures to ensure that they have enough healthcare workers. For instance, if you see they have regular draws, right? So let's click one of them. So you will see here, and then these occupations, right, are different from the occupations that is there under federal system. So see, we have 35 here, right? So under Ontario, each draw they will mention. For an instance, this managers in healthcare. So if you come here, this managers in healthcare is not there, right? But it's there in the Ontario list, right? So they have diversified occupation list here, and it covers almost all the occupations in the healthcare stream. The most important part is the score here is 414 to 444. So 414 is highly attainable score even if you are if you have these qualifications and so on, and even if you are like more than 35 years of age. So let's go down and see the numbers, how it will change, right? If you see the July 18, the score was 425 to 444. Then if you go down further, right, March 7 draw, the score drops to 352. 352, my dear friends, is very gettable score, right? So because if you are even closing on 40 or even beyond 40, 352 is a gettable score. Because remember, this happened like nearly like 8 months ago. So the scores will be slightly higher. We can't expect the scores to be down to 352 again. But having said that, you never know, right? So then it's always better to have express entry profile in play, because if you are in a demand skill like all what they have listed here, right? So you have a very good chance of getting an invitation. So 352. Now remember, I just went with the calculation. So we came around 430, 450 based on your age, qualification, and so on. But 352 is a highly gettable score. So then in February 6, 2024, again, it's 379 to 430. Then September 26, 2025, the score dropped, the 2023, that's last year. This is only, the draw was only for these 5. So they basically covered the general practitioners and family physicians and licensed nurses, right? So then so if you are in one of these categories, then Ontario is showing signs that they're telling that we need you. So if you are in these 5 knock codes, you have a very good chance of getting a draw under Ontario healthcare, like this called human capital priority stream, right? So then you just have to create a profile and you will under express entry, and if your score is higher than the Ontario required score, then you will get an invitation from the province. So you have to submit the documents to the province, and then they will process your application. And if your application is successful, they will provide you nomination. So once you provide the nomination in our system here, we can answer. Now remember, our score is 463, right? So then if you get a nomination, you can answer this in affirmative. You can say yes. So just see what's going to happen if once you say yes. Do you have a nomination certificate from province or territory? Previously it was no, and our score is 463. Now we are going to put yes and click calculate score. You will get 600 points. That means 1063 points. That will give you an invitation any day of the week, right? So then so that's why the nomination, provincial nomination is important. So if you get this 600 points, that should be game over, right? So then so if you're unable to get under federal stream, still you have a chance under PNPs. So Ontario is one of the PNPs. So let's evaluate a few others as well, right? So the provinces are coming with a different creative methods to attract the healthcare workers. So these provincial nominations, for instance, Saskatchewan, they introduced this thing called International Health Worker EOI pool, expression of interest pool, right? So what you can do is, if you're a health worker, you can create an expression of interest profile here. You just have to click here and fill the details. And then what happens is the importance of this tool is it helps you to find a job offer in your area. So let's read this. An international health worker EOI submission is not an application to the SINP. It's not an application, it's a pre-application from which allows you to fill out an online form to indicate your interest in working in Saskatchewan in a selected health sector occupation, show your qualifications. The information asked for is used to identify job opportunities being offered by the Saskatchewan healthcare employers. So then what they do is the employers in Saskatchewan, they will have access to these profiles, right? And they will be able to provide you once they assess their skills, they will be able to offer you, which get you qualified under health talent pathway. So let's read this as well. Those who have skills needed will be contacted with job posting information, identifying where and how to apply for a job opportunity. If you're selected and receive an employment offer, you may be eligible to apply for SINP, that is Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, Health Talent Pathway. So this pool is free of charge. You just create an account and keep it. And if the employers, healthcare employers are willing to hire you, they will provide the job postings. So the good part about this is you will get a job offer. So that's a good opportunity for you to come here and straight away you will have a job as well, right? So then health talent pathway, they have a requirement that you need to have an offer for a skilled job in Saskatchewan. If you create the profile under this the healthcare worker EOI pool, then once you get like the a job offer from the employer, you will be able to apply under health talent pathway. So then we have in almost all the provinces, right? So British Columbia, they have two categories like the health authority, but you need to have a job offer for this, right? So health authority stream is health authority streams give you permanent resident pathway to people working for a health authority in BC. So that might not be appealing for many of you because you're not working, you're from Sri Lanka. But if you are somebody is like able to find a job offer, British Columbia has a pathway as well. And then they have similar program which we have to Ontario. But remember, Ontario, we need not to have a job offer. You can apply from Sri Lanka itself. But if you're able to, let's say your score is not good enough, then you have to apply for healthcare jobs in British Columbia. They have also listed out the certain occupation that is in demand, right? So then if you're under any of these occupations, you just need to find a job offer, then you will be able to apply under healthcare stream. So look, here it says, workers who are not employed by the health authority and who have a job offer in one of the following occupations may benefit from the targeted invitations to apply. So the score for healthcare draw is significantly lower than the general score. It's like so the 30-40 points difference, right? So if you're able to find a job offer in healthcare like stream in British Columbia, you will be able to get the invitation there as well. Then similar like almost all the provinces. So the Alberta, they have the dedicated health health pathway, right? So and then Manitoba, also like one of the provinces that has the draws for like the healthcare workers, right? So let's open one of these, right? So they have this expression of interest system again, and they have this strategic recruitment initiative. That means the province of Manitoba, they are trying to find out where the lack of employers and the in-demand occupations, and they provide invitations. And on top of that, they also provide the healthcare specific draws. For instance, in June 2025, June 25, 2024, they have a similar draw targeting like registered nurses, nurse practitioners, licensed practical nurses, nurse aides, and the nurse aides is like where we have the personal support workers. So if you're a personal support worker working in a hospital or like any entity, then you will be able to apply under this as well, right? So it is not confined to doctors and nurses. So because if you see the rounds of invitations, right? So we have like it's then for healthcare workers we have 33102, which is the nurse aides. So if we'll do a quick search on this, if any of the NOCs, if you want to do any search on this, what you have to do is just click like copy the full name, go to Google and type just at the end NOC, done, right? So then you will be directed to this screen and you'll be able to see who are covered under this, right? So then you have to click on all examples, right? So then you will see all the like the occupations covered under that particular NOC. Here you can be a hospital porter, right? So you can be institutional aid, long-term care aid, medical aid, right? So then the even the surgical aid and the special care nursing. So it is not confined to doctors, nurses. It can be any profession in the healthcare under these 35 categories. So if you have any doubt, like let's say another one, right? So let's pick, right? So the other common one is 33109, which is the other assisting occupations. So again, we'll do the Google search, right? So then you would understand better. Just put the name and put NOC, done. So then you will see here, it's not confined to the highly technical healthcare jobs like the dentists, doctors, nurses. It can be like administrative assistant as well in a healthcare sector, right? So for the let's say admin, right? Office assistant, example of titles. Let's go to the example of titles, right? So the outside office, right? So the office assistants, even in a chiropractic clinic, is also covered under this, right? So you need not to be like doctor, nurse, or dentist. There are other occupations as well. So I want you guys to go dig deep into this. And if it is come in any of the 35 under federal, you're good. You can apply under federal. If it comes under any of the provinces one, which is like published by the province, then you have a chance there as well. Then similarly, Nova Scotia, they have this skilled worker stream, right? So they have a good chance for if you're a skilled worker and the occupation in demand. Right now, they have this nurse aides, right? So if you're a personal support worker, if you are like as I said, a porter or like anybody like in that range, then you will be able to apply under this. But you need to have a full-time job offer for this from Nova Scotia. I know it is not easy. That's why I want you to target the areas like where you do not need job offers, right? For an instance, federal system, you don't need a job offer. Ontario PNP, human capital priorities, you don't need a job offer. So you just need to be in those like the eligibility criteria, and you need to be in the professions that they're looking at, 35 in federal, and the Ontario, as I said, they have certain lists. If you have that and you have the requisite score, you will get an invitation. You need not to have a job offer for this, right? So that's basically the end of like our presentation. So I'm happy that I was able to keep it for like 50 minutes. I know you're all busy and it's a very interesting weekend in Sri Lanka. So I hope you all enjoy, right? So if you want to book one-on-one consultations, you can get in touch with these numbers. You will get an email from us as well. So here, I just want to tell you, like if you're a healthcare worker and you want to migrate to a country and Canada is one of your choices, you have a very good chance in healthcare stream. If you're in other stream, unfortunately, that opportunity is not there. So I'll show you one important fact here, right? So the government of Canada, like their latest immigration plan, right? For 2025, right? So they have mentioned that for the year 2025, let's read this. They have mentioned healthcare as one of their most interested areas, right? So here they say includes admissions for eligible candidates with specific skills, training, language ability in order to be responsive to labor market needs through categories established by Minister of IRC in the express entry system. This is the very important part. That in the 2025 priority categories include healthcare occupations, right? So then it's one of their main occupations. So as of now, it's healthcare, trade, and French, right? but healthcare is one of the main occupations that they're looking at. So you have a very good chance, and the most important part, as I explained previously, you will get the permanent residence as soon as you cross the border. So not only for you, for your entire family. So I hope that this information and the webinar was informative and beneficial to you guys. So thank you very much for joining with us. And once again, you have the details right in front of you. And our team will send you an email as well. So then you will be able to our social media details are also shared, so you can get in touch with us and book one-on-one consultations. And if you need anything, please feel free to get in touch with us. Good night. I know it's like almost 9 p.m. there, so have a wonderful rest of the weekend. I wish you all the very best.